I tried to do this dish as close as possible to fish and chips. But I would be missing it, as you can see. I like a bit of food, so today I've got Stuart onto the stage with me. He's from Atlantic Brewery. Now, what I try to do at the restaurant, I'm trying to not only match wine with food, but also with beer. Now, Stuart's got a company called Atlantic Brewery, and they are, yeah, it's right, organic, and also certified vegetarian.
Yep, vegetarian, vegan, and also kosher.
Yeah, and kosher. So it's a very unique brewery, very unique. And basically, Stuart and I have produced one beer so far, and today I'm trying to match this dish with the beer you can see on the front there. I like beer maybe a little bit more than I should do, so it makes sense for me to actually sort of try and match it with my dishes. So I'm going to start. Stuart, you're going to sort of talk maybe what we're going to do. I'm going to do the turbot, but how beer sort of goes with food.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Both kind of prepped the turbot for me, which is very nice because I don't want to cut my fingers on stage, so I'll put that one away. Basically, what I've done, I don't like to waste anything. I think, as you can see, as Michael was just talking about, it's all about let's cut back on the waste. So turbot, for me, is the king of fish, especially in the southwest, and I don't want to waste any of it. So we've got the stock here, obviously, which I'm going to use in my sauce, but also I've got the little trimmings from the tail ends, which always get left on, so they're not enough to make our portion. And when people are eating our sort of restaurant, they don't want 2 pieces or 3 pieces of fish, they want one nice piece of fish. So credit crunch, and me not wanting to waste anything, I make a little sort of, the French call it a goujon. We at college we used to say it was a goujon, but it's a fish finger basically. So what I do is with this, I'm just going to show you, what I use here is it's a Japanese breadcrumb. The only reason really is because it's a lot drier and it's got a little bit of sweetness to it. It does tend to burn if you get your oil too hot, which I may do later on, I'm sure, because this stove's all new to me, as you can see. Very simple, probably everyone's seen this before, just the trimmings just go through the flour and the egg and the breadcrumbs. Also brings to the dish a little bit of the textures. I mean, the turbot, if it's spankingly fresh, we can steam it. Today I'm going to, because we're outside like this, it's not obviously as cold as what my kitchen probably would be. So I'm going to roast it, because I don't want to run the risk. It's a nicer way, it's a good texture as well. Depends what time of the year is as well with the turbot. As everything, all fish has seasons as well.
So where's the turbot caught?
It's from the south coast, turbot. Usually, I mean, I buy a lot of my fish from Loo Market, purely because it's a day caught market, which means that the boats go out with the tide, come back in with the tide. A lot of turbot though is caught on the ships that go out for like 6 to 10 days. Turbot actually is one of the fish that if you caught it and tried to fillet it and tried to cook it, you probably wouldn't even get your knife in it for once. I mean, a lot of these fish, everyone says fish has to be fresh. Well, turbot's one of those that needs 3 or 4 days before you actually take it off the bone. It actually, there's an advantage to that. Right, he's 50-50. He's got olive oil and vegetable oil in it. And what we do is we just spin that down with a little bit of cream and a little bit of fish stock. Certain fish they don't make very good fish stock. So I think really the flat ones are the best. You know, your turbot, your brill, your soles. I certainly wouldn't make a fish stock with something like a sea bass or something like that, just purely because it's too oily. Just the flavour's not there. It just becomes too strong. Excuse me while I work these staves out. Now, so what you do with these sauces are quite nice, these mayonnaise sauces. They're taking it's a little bit different than the normal sort of reduction of wine and your shallots and your usual chefy sauce. But this is mayonnaise. It can be done in so many different ways. This one I've chose just olive oil and vegetable oil purely because I don't want it to be too strong. So I want the herbs and the capers, the gherkins, all the elements of the tart sauce to show through. But we also do one which goes with a shellfish dish, which is olive oil, saffron mayonnaise, and then you fill it down with shellfish stock instead of fish stock. So you get yourself a very, very strong sauce, and it's not too strong. You know, I mean, it is strong. Sorry, this one's not too strong. That one is strong because you want it to be because the fish can handle it. And what we do to that, so we've got a little bit of cream. The cream just stops it from splitting because you've got eggs in there. So if you can add heat to it, the eggs are going to is that they're going to cook basically, and then a little bit of fish stock. As you notice, I'm doing all this cold, because what I'm going to do is bring it up to temperature. Again, I don't want it to, it's like making a custard or doing anything with eggs, you don't want to bring it to the boil, you just want it to come to about sort of 70, 75 degrees. Any higher than that you start getting, you have scrambled egg fish sauce, which is not very nice. I don't want it all chopped into my chopping board, I want it nice, quite a rough sort of chop. Nothing too... It's a lovely blend. I mean, these are my favourite blend of herbs, the parsley, chives, chervil and tarragon. They work very well together. They're very soft, so they're quite digestible, so you're not going to get them stuck in your teeth and all that sort of stuff. And it goes really, really nice with like just simple omelettes as well. The fish, actually while working with Rick Stein a long time ago, 10 years ago, he's the one that sort of like showed me very, very simple sort of fish dishes and using simple flavours like that, not too much. I mean, you find nowadays that a lot of restaurants that will go a bit heavy on all these different garnishes and stuff. It's not necessary. I mean, we've got Rising 2-star and with 11th in the country and a good food guy down in a little restaurant in Cornwall. And we just cook quite simple food. It's not too elaborate. And I think that's where some chefs, maybe in some restaurants, get it a bit wrong. They go a bit too mad, too many elements. At the end of the day, the customers are coming in, they're paying a lot of money to eat the food, and they want what they're paying for, you know. And sometimes it gets a bit hectic and there's loads going on. There's no way you can put 12 elements onto a plate and make it all correct, you know. So a lot of my dishes are, I call them one-pot wonders, but basically it's like this: you've got your sauce, you concentrate on your fish and make sure your fish and your meat's perfectly well sauced, well prepped, and then obviously well cooked. And then sauces, so you make sure that obviously the combination, the flavour goes together. Obviously you don't want, you can get a bit too crazy with all these combinations that go on nowadays. And then look at basic and simple and traditional techniques, but also look at the modern stuff as well. So it's sort of a fusion, which is a horrible word, but a fusion of different, of traditional and modern that I'm using in the restaurant at the moment.
You need to wet your whistle.
No, that's it. You
just got the one glass.